Hello, Flosstube. Elizabeth Martinez, phantastitches here with my Flosstube update number 405. Today is Saturday, September 27th, which means it is the end of the month, end of September, almost the beginning of October, and the new WIPGO numbers have come out. And getting ready for October, the best month of the year, I might add. My birthday's on the 10th, and coincidentally, Monday's a national holiday. So, there won't be any mail or bank in honor of my birthday. Um, but I love October because it is generally, the weather is great because it's not too hot, not too cold. In Albuquerque, the balloon fiesta is going on. There's hundreds and hundreds of balloons, of hot air balloons, from the first weekend of October until the second weekend of October. All across the country, the leaves are changing colors. And then of course my birthday is on the 10th. And at the end of the month, everybody gets candy. So it's a great month all around. I always joke about it. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, so now that I've messed up my hair. So anyway, we're getting ready for October, and also I think I mentioned last week. I don't know, but we did sell this house, and we have purchased a new house. So that's going to be just a lot of, stuff going on between getting out of this house, packing stuff up, and getting into the new house, and, putting all the things there where they're going to go, and deciding where they're going to go, and things that have to be done at that house, and blah, blah, blah. It's just a big mess. But it's exciting on the one hand, and intimidating on the other. Lots of stuff to do. I don't know how things are going to be in the next few weeks, but that's what's going on. And also, it's been raining here today. I think today it's a little overcast. Oh, I keep wiggling this thing, and there's supposed to be, I think, more rain today. I'm not sure, but yesterday it was very stormy. There was all kinds of, we get the little dust storm warnings, and like there was like flash flood warnings, things like that, that come in on the phone, like you get the alarm thing. And I remember earlier in the morning, it was very windy, and but it hadn't started raining yet, because I went and looked out the back door, because we have an outdoor table there, and there's a tablecloth that's kind of pinned down, but it was flapping around on the wind, and I was looking, and our pool in the backyard was like rippling with the wind, but it hadn't started raining yet. So like, okay, well, it looks bad, but it's not. It hadn't started raining yet, so it's. But then a little while later, I noticed the sky. I was looking out the window of my bedroom, and the sky was getting darker and darker and darker, and pretty soon, it was like nighttime. It was so dark, and there was all kinds of rain, and in parts of Phoenix there was hail, and there was a flash flood warning that was coming through. Don't drive, and they were saying, don't drive unless you're like evacuating the area or something like that. It was very very scary, and there were some really bad. Sorry, I have my back itching. There was some really bad hail that was like busting out windows and things like that, and I think I read one thing where somebody's vehicle got kind of swept away or whatever, and so yeah, it was. I was glad I was not out in it. I was here at the house the whole time, but my nephew, was out there in it, and my younger sister was talking about how at her office, they went through a lot there. There was a lot of storm there, and just it was just an ugly day, and it reminds me of like when a few years ago, well, about almost 10 years ago now, I had gone for a checkup after my surgery, and we were there. I don't know. We were there all day. It was an issue going on, but when we were going to leave, it was raining very hard, and by the time we got into the car, my sister was like, "Oh, I don't think we should take the freeway because there are a couple places where you're down on the freeway, you're down below the street level, on the lower level, and certain parts of the freeway have uh, flooding problems, I guess, or something like that. Anyway, so we decided to go on the surface streets on the way home. But there was like a lot of water running in the street, and there's these canals there in the city, and they were like filling up to the tippy top, and just it was lots and lots and lots of rain and lots of traffic because it was rush hour, evening rush hour time, and it was just it was just a terrible experience. Anyway, so like I said, fortunately I was here inside the little cozy, dry confines of the house. The dogs got out and of course got very wet, and um, yeah, it was a big hassle with the dogs. Um, and in other pet news, um, my two cats are very old. My cat Puck is 18, and Snug is 14. And for the longest time, especially since I had my surgery, Snug put on a lot of weight. He was, eating a lot. He's very food motivated in the first place, and he was just he was eating a lot. I don't know if it was because our lives were kind of all upset. With I was in the hospital for about 5 weeks in the hospital and rehab and all that back in those days, and he was just, I guess eating a lot. I don't know if it was an emotional thing for him. I don't know. Cats can get that way, but anyway, he, during that time he put on a lot of weight, but just like in the last couple of months, he's lost a lot of weight, and I don't know how much of that is partly age and how much of it is some medical issues that he's had going on for a while, and so yeah, I'm keeping a close eye on him. Um, and even though my cat Puck is older, he's I think healthier in general than Snug is, I guess. Snug's just got some things going on, and so I'm kind of wary and keeping an eye on him. And but yesterday was we did what I call a mani pedi for the cats. They get their little claws trimmed, and really should, in some ways, I should clip their back claws, but I usually don't. I just do their front claws. Because especially Puck has a tendency to put his hand on my face and and so I like don't let him put his hand on me when his claws are long. He's very pokey and hooky, and like when he tries to walk across my bed, sometimes his claws get stuck on the blanket or something. So I can tell when it's time to trim the cat's claws. And so I just trim the tips. I don't, I just, take the tips off so they don't hook on everything. But Puck has, Puck has a thumb claw that is, I guess, deformed, misshapen. It looks like a disc, almost on his thumb. But it was really overgrown to the point where it was poking his thumb pad. And I thought, I really have to trim that back, and it takes a lot of maneuvering because it's not like a regular little hook on his claw. It's like a scythe. It's a disc. And so I was holding him, and I was, trying to trim the corner off before I took my big trimmers. I had to like take the tip off with this other trimmer, and somehow in that process, I poked his little thumb pad, and I could see a little bit of blood. I was like, oh no, no. Because you try your best when you're trimming not to trim too far back because you don't want to cut into the quick of their nail and make them bleed, right? But somehow in fussling with that disc claw, I had poked his thumb pad and drew a little bit of blood somehow. Um, but he did get me back because he was wiggling around at one point, and I was trying to wrestle him back into position, and he, you know, scratched me across the back of my hand. I had it was bleeding and all kinds of, you know, stuff. But so yeah, we traded blood. I traded wounds, I should say. We actually mix our blood together, no. But anyway, it was it was a difficult day for both of us. But anyway, so that's where we are with all of that. Sorry, little life update. So, the my September things I was finishing, working on, I should say, not finishing, but working on. Last week I talked about my axolotle, which was the second of the three blue flower patterns in this set. So there's the Killdeer, the axolotle, and the blue penguins are all part of this set. There's three patterns in this pattern thing set. Merry Menagerie 2024 is what it's called, by the Blue Flower. And this was something that came out at last year's Jingle Ball. So I had, them individually on my WIPGO board as new starts. So last month in August, I did Killdeer, and I started in the center and had just gotten a little bit of a start on this one. And then this month, September, was the axolotle, and I did all of it except for there's one blue fancy floss color that I'm missing that wasn't at the attic, and I haven't ordered it because I'm at this point I'm trying to save money. I probably won't. I may be able to order it in October. I can order. There's a few threads that I need to order that. So I'll probably get that one at that time. It's the Weeks-Dye-Works Santa Cruz is what it's called. And I don't know if it's a new color or what. But like I said, they didn't have it at the attic. They didn't even have a slot for it yet. So I don't know if it's something they didn't yet carry or something that was discontinued, or I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, that's the color. that's the blue color of this penguin here. So yeah, it's one color that I had not found when I went last time, whenever it was that I went and bought them. But anyway, so like I said, this was August and this was September, and this hasn't come up yet. But so I did all but the blue in this one, in the axolotl. But I had some time at one point. I went back and I finished this middle Killdeer, except for on this ornament, on all the ornaments that the little Killdeer have, there's a lazy daisy stitched on top of on the ornament here, and I didn't get around to I think I have to re-watch the tutorials online to see how to do it, because I did it for some other pattern that I did some time ago, but I don't remember how to do them exactly, and I haven't. I need to, like I said, I need to watch a tutorial to make sure I'm doing it right. But anyway, but this is the middle Killdeer of the three in this pattern. I started another one here. You can see the white here of his belly, but I haven't, didn't done anymore. But I did finish this one, except for, because this one doesn't have that blue color. I just have to finish the lazy daisy on top of this ornament, and I may or may not do that anytime soon. But so I did finish this this little Killdeer guy. His legs there. So that's the middle one of the three there. So that was leftover from August. My other new start, besides the axolotl, my other new start for September was Teresa Kogut's Holiday Stroll. What's this one here? Santa and reindeer, and he's pulling the sled with a snowman in it. So this is, I want to say, is it all DMC? I think it's all DMC. No, there's some Weeks-Dye-Works colors. I have one of the three that it calls for. So if you look on this, on Santa's robe here, he's got a darker red color, like outlining the edge of his robe. And that's one of the fancy flosses. The other one, this main red color on his robe is a fancy floss. And then there's one other color, it's one of the green, part of the green of his pants. There's another, a light green color, I think, that goes in there with his part of his pants. And you'll see when I have this is what I've done so far. So I started working on the snowman, and the thread that's called for in this pattern is an off-white color, but it looks a little on the dirty side, if you will. So I switched to B5200, and because it's a whiter white, and I like it for snow, but it's hard to see. You can kind of see it, here at an angle, if but and you can see it a little bit more in person, but it's hard to, it doesn't show up really well on this light blue fabric. And this is 18 count light blue damask Ada. I bought, I don't know, at Hobby Lobby or something, probably sometime, long time ago. I don't even know. But so I did the sled and this little rope, whatever that Santa's pulling the sled with, and I did one of his boots, and you'll see here this other missing color, this white lines here, or well, blue, whatever. It's supposed to be the other green. It's supposed to be one of the fancy floss colors. And so I didn't do his other boot yet because I would have had to move the hoop, and I hadn't done that. But then I did this light tan color on his robe, and this is like the edge of his robe, and his like the cuff and all that of his sleeve. And then this darker, I think it's crimson is the color. I think it's a Weeks Dye Works color. Yeah, so that's the edge of his robe and his sleeve and whatever on there. So that's the holiday stroll. I have a few more days where I can theoretically work on it. So it's on. I mean, my WIPGO thing, because the other two whips were the one I finished, right? Deep Waters and Seven Pines. I think I talked about that last week. I finished them. So yeah. So I would like to do more of this outline of his robe, and I would like to finish that snowman. I just got kind of tired of because I have to like really look at it carefully to make sure I'm getting it right, and because I have to actually, you can see it better like if I put if I sort of tilt it so that there's more of a shadow on it. I mean, because like looking at it right here, it feels like, oh, I could see that very easily. But when I'm stitching, I have a bright light on my stitching usually, and it actually makes it a little harder to see sometimes while I'm working on it. But yeah. So what I'm going to do probably is I'm going to backstitch along the edges of it with like a light blue or something to make it stand out a little more, and we'll see. And then I'm going to use the off-white that's called for Santa's beard, and it shows up again in the reindeer that's walking with him. There's like a white stripe at the base of the reindeer's hooves, right? Between his legs and his hooves, this white stripe here. So I'm probably going to use that off-white color. There's the snow here. I don't know if I'm going to do the white, the bright white, or the off-white, or whatever. I don't want to have to backstitch everything, but I might just do the white. I don't know. I might use that it's 38, like 3866 or something like that. Is that color? Yeah. So I might use it everywhere except this the solid snowman. But anyway, so that's where I am with that. Like I said, I'm going to work on it a little more in the next few days while the month lasts. But then, speaking of getting ready for next month, the new WIPGO numbers are number 6 and number 17. So for number 6, the whip I have is the Ferrett, and this is part of the Cottage Garden Samplings Year in the Woods. The first one, the second one has come out. They've come out with a second one, and I think there's like 3. There's the wolf, sugar glider, and the third one is it's a bird, I think. I can't remember. But I just saw it not long ago that it had come out. But anyway, so I'm the Ferrett, doing the Ferrett, and the Ferrett is the number 5 of this series. So I haven't worked on it in ages. Put this over here. But last time I worked on it, I did one of the flowers. I think there's a little mistake kind of thing in this flower somewhere, but I don't care. It's not a big deal mistake. You know, it's something I can work around. I can fudge around it. But then I've got like the part of his body. I think, yeah, this is pretty solid all the way down to here. So I think this part up here is done. It's just like I said, all of these animals have a sort of a pattern here, and so I've done the little pattern of it's in a lighter color, and so I just have the fill in here, and then the rest of his body here, and I did the cabin, and then there's like there's these flowers, so there's a couple more here, and then one here and one here, I think, and one back here, and like stems and stuff. Yeah, this little green stem thing. But mostly I have a lot of his body to do. Yeah. So that's my one of my whips for October. And as always, the goal for these is like 7 days. So we'll see how much of this I can get done. Yeah. I've got his face done at least, so we'll see. And my other whip, my number 17 whip, is Wandering Sheep by Lindy Stitches. And the text says, I was a wandering sheep, I once preferred to roam, but now I love my father's voice, I love his home. And it's got a big black sheep there. And you can put your initials on there. I don't know that there's an alphabet with this pattern, I don't remember. But I've got my initials in there, and the little instructions for this, or suggestions, say, it's easier to put your initials in there if you do the outline of the sheep before, and then you can put your initials in there and then just fill it in, So I did that, and I did this big thistle and all of this flower stuff here. And I started on the grass, but I don't know that I have not done any of the words here, the text, there's a little border here too. So that is my number 17, and this was what I did so far. So I did do the sheep, the outline of the sheep, and I did my initials, you can see them there, here. EAM, and his little ears don't show up very completely well, but I completed his face, ears, and so it's just the black fill-in of the body at his legs, and then there's more of this grass across here. Underneath his feet, and then a border on the bottom. And yeah, I think that's all. And so in 7 days, I don't know, I'll just like be, I think the flower things are finished. So it's just the grass across the bottom and the sheep himself, and then all the words and that border thing. So I'm able to get, if not finished with it, get some good progress. It just depends, because October's going to be a very messy month. But anyway, so yeah, so that's coming along. It's a good starting point, I should say. And again, the goal for that is 7 days, so we'll see how much further I get on that. And then for my new starts for this month, the number 6, I'll get to that in a second. Number 17 is Be Spicy by Beth Twist of Heartstring Samplery. And there's bees and a little bee, bees and a gingerbread house, I think, and some gingerbread men and candies. This is also part of the Jingle Ball, I think, as I recall. So this is from last December, I think, also. But to me, this fabric, you know, it's hard. You can't really see that there's little gingerbread men in the corners here that you know, don't always show up really well. This fabric is a little on the red side for me. Yeah, I just kind of prefer it would be a different color. Yeah, the design is a little hard to see. There's a gingerbread house and these gingerbread men, and there's some candy, like lollipop kind of things, and there's bees all around, right? So it's a very cute design. It's just hard to see on that fabric. And so I'm probably going to stitch it on this, just very neutral. I think this is 18 count Ada. But, so I'm gonna probably do it on this sheet. It's very, you know, just very ordinary neutral color. But I think all the colors will pop well on this. You know, from the white of the bee's wings to the gingerbread men and all of that. So that is, and then I can make it into a little ornament. It's not a very big design. And then the other one, the number 6 new start, is Dutch Winter. And this was a birthday gift last year, I believe, from Teresa Chuck. She sent it to me for my birthday, and she bought for me the this sort of limited edition kit thing. So it comes in a nice canvas project bag with the pattern printed on there on the front. This is the Twin Peak Primitives pattern. Yeah. So they had, I don't know if they still have them, but they did for a while. You could buy it this way, as well as, you know, if you wanted to buy just a PDF version, you could. But they have these kit things that come with all this lovely stuff. So they come with a project bag, and the pattern, and with this pattern comes this little accessory pouch. This is the little birthday greeting thing that Teresa sent me. But it comes with all these little things in this accessory pouch. Let me take everything out here. So it comes with some little goodies, like there's a little emery board and a little crystal light packet. I haven't used it yet, but I will shortly make good use of that. And then it also came with a set of, let me pull that off of there, floss drops. So the pattern is on there, and on the back you can write, it says Twin Peak Primitives, but you can write the floss number on there. So it comes with this little set of floss drops. Very nice. It comes with also a this what do you call it, book plate, like you used to get when you went to the library, right? A little envelope and book plate. And so on here you can write the details of your project, the designer, the name of the project, and whatever else you want to write on there. What are the details, the fabric, the threads, whatever, your start date, your finish date, whatever. And then it also comes with a little needle minder with the design on there, which is really great. So I'm looking forward to this. And since it is ideally in October, I think I'm going to use my birth date, that's the starting date on there, and make a birthday start. Because I was looking at my at all, my pattern, thinking, I should do a birthday start. And I'm like, perfect. It's perfect that I have this, but I haven't started yet, and I can start it on my birthday. So I'm looking forward to that for October. The best part. So Dutch Winter is my number 6 new start on my WIPGO board. And I was thinking about that, like what I'm going to do for my WIPGO board for next year. And part of it is that I have a lot of whips still. Like I have in storage, I have a whole bunch of whips. Oh, I was going to say, I'm going to do Dutch Winter, I think, on this piece of fabric. This is also, I think, 18 count Ada. Yeah. And I think once upon a time it was white. And I dyed it with tea and blackberries. The blackberries didn't really show up well. It just looks like it's water stained or something. But yeah, either that or I might buy a blue fabric, buy or dye a blue fabric, because this is I think they use this light blue linen, green. It says green gray, light green gray linen. It looks very blue to me. But the white doesn't show up very well. There's like a white field of snow here, on the ground, and then, and it doesn't quite show up. It shows up well here on the woman's shirt and hat, but like this is all white, this ground here, and you can see the white, against the windmill and everything, and a little bit on the edges of the trees. But a little bit darker blue might be better. And I don't know if I have, I might have a piece of fabric that's the right size, but not necessarily the right color. So this would, the colors will all pop, I think, on this fabric, but the sky wouldn't look, blue. So, I might, if I can find or dye another piece of fabric that would work, I might do that. I have a few weeks, a couple weeks, I don't know, to do it, but so that'll be coming up. Hopefully I'll be able to get that prepared. I spent last night and early this morning, looking for threads, because I've got, other scattered here and there. But, but I started to say for next year, I have like my old set of whips and this set of whips, because last year or the year before, I did a similar thing to this. I did a new start for, every number. And so I had a whole bunch of new starts. And so those became my new whips. And my old set of whips that I had been working on for a while, I just kind of had gotten tired of them, and I had not put in a whole lot of time on each one, I guess. And so, so I just kind of got tired of like, this one comes up every now and then, and I'm a little tired of it. And so So I had, decided I'm going to do have all these new starts, uh, whips that I had started on, and I want to go ahead and, put them in there. And so I finished a few of them this year. Um, so I'm thinking that next year I will go back to my older whips, see if I can't just, finish them off and, get them out the door. um, Maybe I'll do some combination of those older whips and these newer whips, and maybe not do new starts. I don't know. We'll see what once we get settled in the new house, get all my old whips out of storage. I can assess what I have because I know I have a lot of whips. A lot of whips. Sorry, I'm wiggling the table. Um, so I don't know. I don't know what my WIPGO chart next year is going to look like, but I will probably do it again, or yeah, yeah. And I think actually this year I doing like 25 starts in 2025, because I had 25 slots on my WIPGO board, and I'm doing a new start for every slot. So by the end of the year, it'll be 25 new starts in 2025. Um, we haven't had the number 13 called this year, so it's coming up in either November or December. It's going to be 3 whips in the year, in the month, I should say, either in November or December. But actually, on my WIPGO board, I think I've got 2, bingos. It looks like um, all the slots under the G have been used, and all these slots. There was one other one I was looking at. No, that one's not yet. Yeah, the 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. That row. No, my scribble on WIPGO sheet. I haven't updated it in a while, but this row right here, um, and this one right here, all of the squares have been called. So I just have like 5, right? Yeah, yeah. But anyway, so by the end of the year, I will have done 25 new stars for 2025, and I think maybe next year, if I can do, if I can pair up the whips so that I have maybe one that has that was, as Pam of Pam and Steph of Just Keep Stitching, as she says, a BAS start, a BS start, barely started. Um, like something like this Killdeer, I've got one of the 3 Killdeer done. So if this could be considered a barely started whip or something, a small short-term whip that doesn't have much to do to finish it, and then something longer term like the uh, Voyage of Discovery is kind of a big whip with the it's the I haven't worked on it this year. It's in storage, but it's the one with the Christopher Columbus ships, the Nina Pinta and Santa Maria, and so that's a lot of stitching. That's a big project. Um, so I don't know. I don't know what my WIPGO board is going to look like next year, but something probably along those lines, a combination of my newer whips and my older whips, just so I can get them done. But anyway, so that's what I have got going on. I have, the yeah, um, that I'm trying to get things uh, going for the move to the new house. What's nice about the new house is that we're going to have um, an extra room that we can use as a craft room. I've wanted a craft room for a long. Actually, we have an extra room here, but because we've been trying to get ready to move, we haven't, put stuff in there because we're trying to put things in storage, put things away, be ready to move out at any moment or whatever. So, but in this new house, there's a fourth bedroom that we're going to be able to use as a guest room / craft room, so that, like if my aunt comes to visit or whatever, or my brother or whatever, we have some place where they can sleep besides on the living room couch, but so, this fourth bedroom, so we would have like a futon kind of bed in there maybe, but primarily for it to be a craft room where, so we could have, store things, our stuff to make, scissor pulls or excuse me, needle minders or whatever, but also, finishing supplies and whatever, ironing board and that sort of thing, so to keep them out of the house, have them in that craft room and have a dedicated place to do that sort of thing, where we can shut the door and keep the dogs and cats out of there, and have a place where, maybe if a project needs to sit out, like if you're finishing something and it needs to dry, or the glue needs to dry, or whatever you're doing to it, you can leave it sitting there, and the animals aren't going to mess with it. It's not in the house if somebody comes over or whatever. But the house is, the rooms are a little bit smaller, but that's okay because it's just the three of us. It's not like, when we bought this house, there were 5 people, my parents and the 3 of us. And so it made sense to have a little bit more room. But the house we're moving to it's lovely. It's on the, it's a smaller square footage than this place, but it looks like it'll be great. We're going to have to get used to, we're living it feels like the far side of the moon, but, but we're sort of, finding out, where everything is out there, and, what's most important is there's a McDonald's and a Dutch Brothers, and, the grocery store, and things like that. We're like, okay, there's this, there's that, okay, that'll work. Trying to get oriented of where everything is, which direction you go to get what, But at least we're not moving like, all the way across the country or something like that. So, yeah, hopefully, like I said, it'll happen before the end of the month. The way things are working out, we'll be moving out. The new people will be moving in. We'll be moving into the new house, whatever, and thankfully getting all of our stuff out of storage. It'll be good to have sort of everything back in place, he was talking about, wanting to have the, kitchen things, because we haven't really been able to cook. We've been eating out a lot and stuff like that, and it gets expensive, it's been a while. And so it'd be nice to have, to be able to just cook a thing of pasta. We've been trying to like not do that sort of thing here because we're, having to be able to show the house right away, and at the drop of a hat or whatever. And like I said, fortunately, some people bought the house, and so yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's one thing that will be good to do. But yeah, so anyway, it's a it's a good thing, and it's just it's just difficult because there's just a lot of moving parts. Anyway, that's everything I have, and by the next time I see you, it'll be October, and we'll see how things go then. So again, thanks for watching. Oh, and I just want to say the Harvest Moon Hangout was really great. I didn't have a whole lot of time last weekend. We were very busy with things with the house and everything, and I was kind of exhausted, so I didn't really hang out as much as I wanted to, but I was, I enjoyed it. I was had fun and everything, and so, yeah, so that went really well. So the next thing up is the Jingle Ball. I think the tickets for the Jingle Ball go on sale October 17th, I think. pretty soon. And I think there are some classes and all that. I haven't looked into it quite yet because I've just been, I've been busy. Um, but so I'm looking forward to Jingle Ball. I don't know exactly when the dates are, but I will put a link to uh, Lindy Stitch's website again for so you can go and look it up because I think she has information about the Jingle Ball posted there already. Um, yeah, so that's coming up in December. That's the next virtual event that she has scheduled. Um, but yeah, so until then, I will see you next Saturday, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you. Bye. Get out of here.